talking about Jerome's fetishes.
Yes,
here on
that's right.
That Ranger.
On that Ranger. Hello, children.
I was gonna say that show, and I also messed it up with the
Ranger.
Retro Ranger wrap up.
That Ranger show. No, yeah, here on
See?
on the Ranger wrap up on the
Retro
Woo!
Ranger
Thank you guys. Thank you.
This
we have a
is what
studio
happens
audience,
when
guys.
Joe is not here.
Yeah, we have a studio audience, so we're just kind of losing ourselves today. How you guys doing over there? Yay. See, that's right. That's what I love. That's what we're good. That's good. They're all tuning in. They're all ready for what we're going to talk about today, which is pretty much Tommy's and his brother's
and
epic saga.
Yeah, his.
Right?
What do you call it? A quest? A dream?
I don't. We're going to talk about some adoptive children that possibly may be Native American, but we're not really sure. But possibly they're Native American because their adopted parents are Native American. We're not sure yet.
No, but just one of them.
Okay, cool.
But anyway, yeah, we have 3 episodes today, and
yeah.
Get through them.
We're going to talk about 3 out of 4, and don't worry, we're doing that so this way we can leave you on that cliffhanger and finish up strong
that way you
next
can
week.
Tune in next week to be continued.
I love Lance Sanchez. Lance tells us immediately that he likes chicken. Congratulations. We appreciate the fact that you do. So.
I like chicken soup.
Let's start off with, this episode immediately. Let's go right into it.
The inner spirit?
Yes. Now, with this, we find Tommy just after dealing with his Dear John letter and not in the best mental kind of state as far as everything happening.
It is
which
true.
Is very
he is
important.
Torn up.
It was very important because kind of leads to what's going on with him continuing on throughout the episode. So, with that, Tommy's kind of living life on the rebound. He just had a date with whatever that snowboarder girl. He got dumped by her, and then after that started dating.
For Kat.
Yes, and then all of a sudden, last minute out of nowhere, got to pick up Kat. Score. Good job on the bounce.
Yeah.
But so with that, we have Tommy who's dealing with
a lot of dreams and an arrowhead and trying to get his quest. So he's like, Zordon will know the answer. And actually, I did not know this. I did not know that robot slept.
Yeah, with the nightcap. You saw
out of everything that like confused me in these episodes, I'm like, Alpha, what? You don't. Well, I can get like recharging, but you like sleep and.
Well, that's how he charges. He charges in a way where just like he sits there.
And he wears a nightcap because he gets cold at night.
He is like the most sophisticated piece of equipment.
He is not sophisticated. Let's not try to lie to ourselves.
Look,
he gets viruses by putting CDs in his bag.
No, not CDs. You have to say it properly. CD-ROMs.
CD-ROMs.
Welcome to the 90s, kids. That's what happens. CD-ROMs. So you have to put them inside of a box, and then all of a sudden he'll shut down.
Yeah,
so,
or introduce him to a kid, and then he's going to explode.
Or kidnap them.
Yeah.
It happens during Christmas. It's a thing robots do. So... I'm sorry, I'm entertaining myself. So, nonetheless...
You're not wrong.
No, I'm not. I'm not. But so we deal with Tommy automatically looking for a quest or a journey to go on immediately. And with that, he ends up getting exactly what he wants.
Kind of. And I feel like in this episode in particular, like Rocky, to me, in the past couple episodes... speaks the most sense. Like, my thoughts align with Rocky. Because, like, the last week he was like, man, this is weird even for Angel Grove. And I was like, yes, that is weird, Rocky.
Oh, yeah, huh?
And in this episode, he was like, isn't it kind of weird that Tommy has these Native American dreams and then suddenly we're having a Native American festival at school? What a weird coincidence.
No.
Like,
and I didn't know Tommy was, like, psychic.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a weird thing.
Hey, it happens, but the thing is, essentially, he was getting the dreams and hinting at it because now is the time that he has to meet his brother. But before he does, he has to meet Trueheart. The curator
of this particular exhibit at their school.
Or as I like to call it, the Native American Morgan Freeman. Because that's what he is. Because, Morgan Freeman is like magical Negro. And so he is like magical Native American.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not really informed on these things, and I feel like you speak with confidence.
Exactly.
So for now, until proven otherwise, I will agree with you.
Well, I mean, think about it. This guy doesn't age. One.
That's true. He doesn't.
Tommy is a kid, then time speeds forward, and he's still there as the same guy and remembers everything, while everyone else kind of forgot, blah, blah. He wasn't affected by the spell, the time shift, or anything.
That is true, and he magically appears and magically disappears.
So. He's a falcon, so there you go. Magical Native American guy.
I don't know if he's a falcon, or the falcon just kind of comes to him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
I mean, he might... I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know how those things work. Yeah,
and,
I don't know how those things work. Whatever. So, with that being the case, we see Trueheart, and Tommy gives him a ride, right?
Yeah, because he was like, hey, I forgot to get something for my exhibit. Can you drop me off at the furthest mountain?
Oh,
and Tommy's like, yo, there's nothing. He was like, yes, so it'll be more impressive when I disappear into nothingness. And I was like, all right, that's cool. I mean, Tommy is for sure like, yo, old man, where'd you go?
And Tommy accepts things too easily. Like,
I mean, look at them with the Power Rangers. Hey, there's a big floating head. They want us to fight monsters. We'll do it. So I mean,
everything else is kind of like, well, I guess it's all possible.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll go for that. Yeah, if I'm accepting a floating head and a robot that, you can put a CD-ROM inside of and blah, blah, blah.
Give him viruses.
Yeah, why wouldn't you accept the fact that there's a magical Native American guy? So, yeah, I'll go for it. Fine.
Yeah. And, like, the focus of this episode really is Tommy and his journey and trying to figure out what the arrowhead means and what journey he's supposed to go on. We don't really know what's up yet. And I just felt like, the monster of the week kind of just fell by the by the wayside. Like, Main Drain the monster comes out kind of out of nowhere just because it's a Power Rangers episode and, we need to have a monster.
Oh, boy. Yeah, so he does show up, and with that, he does his job of trying to, drain energy, blah, blah. And then he ends up fighting a toy battleizer.
Yeah.
At one moment, or at least that was an issue. We did get
with
the
rocks
introduction.
falling out.
I loved it. It was so bad. It was so good.
But I was just like, this is so obviously a toy, and like the dust that they're just sprinkling down. I was like, all right. I mean,
I think in 1 second, you know how usually you see a boom in the shot. I just saw the guy's fingers sprinkling the dirt right onto the toy. They're like, it's all right. Kids won't know. But still, what was cool was that we got a new toy. Which is the battleizer. And now we got a new ethic as far as how the Zords are going to work.
Okay, so this is another big thing for me. So Tommy, again, like, he's the Lone Ranger. He always gets his own individualized Zord. So can the other... Yes. But, like, okay, why does Tommy get another separate Zord? Like, he is the head of the main Zord. Isn't he instrumental in helping, like, power... The Zeo Megazord?
I thought so, but apparently it works without him because they put it all together, and then we see more of, in some way, it felt like more of Adam
taking charge.
Adam taking charge
and
getting more of a leadership role.
But yeah, I was just like, so he gets a defender wheel, which he couldn't use in this case because obviously we need new toys.
Exactly.
So he gets his own Zord, and I'm just like, at what point are the other Rangers like, yo, Tommy is greedy with the Zords.
No,
he doesn't want to play. He's not a team member.
It's not their fault that Billy happens to be working on his iPhone and also working on building a battle Zord and blah, 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 and then also making sure that, other stuff works. It's not their fault.
I just feel like, why doesn't anyone else get a specialty Zord? I mean, obviously they have to use footage for Japan, so that's not for these people to determine, but...
Not everyone else has long hair and is also racially ambiguous and just... happens to be like the figurehead for like a show.
All right.
And tells people chat me up. Oh shoot, I'm talking about somebody else. But no, not everybody gets that. So the thing is, because of that, that's why Tommy gets everything he gets. What's wrong with that?
I guess that's
he's
fine.
A leader.
And especially since Billy knows that he's dealing with this breakup and kind of going through all this stuff and like different girls, he was like, yes, let me make this telepathic connection to Tommy's brain. And guess what? You had to power the Zord by being peaceful. I was like, you couldn't pick any of the other Rangers that don't have a whole lot going on. Like Rocky, I feel like Rocky would be mentally like, yo, this is cool. I got this.
I think out of all the people, you should have made it Adam.
Adam for sure probably has the most discipline.
So chill.
That is a good
about
point.
Everything. Stuff's happening.
Level-headed.
Yes.
Very
like
logical.
Oh my God, Adam, watch out! They just stabbed so and so. I am like a river and blah blah blah. Like he's just chill. And he doesn't, he'll be fine and everything will work out.
He gives a good advice. Yeah, okay, that is an excellent point. Why do we not have an individualized Zord for Adam?
For Adam.
But also because the Zord is red, so I had to go to Tommy because we put Tommy as the Red Ranger. I get it. But if we were making our own show, it definitely should have been
just logically. But the thing is, don't introduce logic into my Church of Ranger. That's what I said. Don't ever do that because that's not what we're looking
that's fine.
for.
I mean, I accept a lot of things, kind of like these Power Rangers where it's like monsters. All right. I'll do it.
But I mean, don't. If we bog it down with logic, then I mean, we have to start bogging down everything. Like, well, there's a floating head. Where there's this, where there's that. So, we'll just let it go and say because he's a leader, he gets it. Because Power Rangers.
All right.
Which is fine.
I mean, that's fine.
It's a logic I accept.
That's fine. But yeah, and it's just also like a weird thing. So we get Tommy in his own, what is it called? What is the sword even called? Like a special
it's a battle.
Tommy sword?
No, it's called
battle
the
sword?
battle. It's called the battle sword.
That's just what
the
it
red
is. Because
battle
the other
sword.
one doesn't do battles. It just stands there like, all right. But so we're in the red battle sword.
When
and
I
I
look
love,
at it, it has like gauntlets. It's ready for.
But I mean, the other things have like the girl Zords like shoot them up and like, you know, like I feel like it's ready for battle.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we got a super chat from Toku Kid.
Oh, he's got a good point. I actually like that. Toku Kid says immediately, should have been a sentient Zord. Or like Ninjor.
I mean, like Ninjor, but not
I like the fact
Ninjor.
that he said that. Ninjor.
But not him.
What?
But I mean, we kind of saw that like the Dragon Sword kind of went off and did its own stuff. Like, all right.
Well,
but
yeah.
if Tommy was not in this battle sword, though, we would not have had this great Luke Skywalker moment where it's like, close the eyes.
Oh yes.
And do it. And it's just like I love how Tommy's there just like stressed out, and it's like this vision appears to him, and he was like, I can do it. He's like, yes.
Oh yeah.
And then he kicks butt.
I did like, and I didn't even realize until I had to watch it over again. The episode starts with what's happening in the middle, where it's like, all right, Tommy, time to focus, and then it goes back to like previously, you know, like hours before, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, oh, that's interesting. That's something that we haven't used as a tool in Power Rangers before. And it just points out once again, like Douglas Sloan's, I'm going to say it, his genius as far as like trying to change how the show is being seen, as far as like the
like not in chronological, like trying to create intrigue and
and it's like using a like a plot device or a tool in writing that usually is garnered or held for like older audiences, and it's like letting us know that once again the show is growing up. And we go full tilt into it when we actually get to find out that, well, like, there's a lot going on with Tommy, much more than what we expected, when he sees that man on the horse.
Yeah, coming out of nowhere. And I was like, you know?
Out of nowhere. So then I also was like, wait, so is David magical?
Okay, so we'll talk about that when we get into the next in the next episode. Okay. But yeah, this was a really interesting cliffhanger, how you're talking about the structuring of these episodes, where you start kind of like in the middle, go back, tell a story, and then we end with this guy appearing on a horse.
On a horse.
To be continued.
Oh my god.
Wait, are we scoring it? Or?
We should score it.
We should score it, and while we are waiting for you guys to go ahead and give us your scores, we're going to make sure, yes, out of 5, rate that episode, we're going to go into the notes.
All right.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and give you some notes on the first episode of, this 4-parter. First note, oh wow. First appearance of Tommy's biological brother, David. Yes, we knew that to be sure. Let me make this a little bit.
But we didn't know it was David at this point.
No, we didn't know at first. We didn't know at first it was David.
Yes.
But we just saw him, boom, that's his first appearance that we ever got. It is revealed that Alpha sleeps in this episode. Bravo, pointing that out. When Tommy is shown waking him, Alpha is standing in the small alcove in the wall when he wakes up.
Do you think this is like, okay, this is totally unrelated, but I'm going to bring it in. Like, do you think Futurama borrowed this for Bender and was like, you sleep in the closet?
Oh, yeah.
And the robots sleep. I kind of feel like when I saw this, I was just like,
no. Oh. Actually, if you want to take it back, you go back farther. Sleeping in the closet was a small wonder thing.
You're right,
That's
Vicky.
right. That's right.
Oh my! You know what?
Can we sing it, or are they going to flag us if I sing it?
They will probably.
Will they flag us if we sing it?
I mean, it's so old. I don't think they would.
She's a small wonder. Okay, I'm done. But I want a picture now of like the small wonder girl and.
Alpha?
Maybe like, put Alpha's head on it or something like that.
I was just gonna say like a cute little like best friends of Alpha, Bender, and Vicky.
Oh my god, that would be great!
Yeah.
Alpha, Bender. Oh, we sleep in closets.
And then Harry Potter like on the side.
Oh my god, under the stairs.
Yeah.
That's true.
He's not a robot.
Wow.
But anyway, I digress.
They all sleep in closets. Alpha is shown here wearing a nightcap. Have been awakened from his sleep mode. So in his sleep mode, of course, that's when he charges. Tommy tries to get the red Battlezord to copy the movements he makes.
Oh, yeah. And it's just like, no. I'm going to do like some weird stuff instead.
But he was like, what? No, but he was like this. Okay, cool. He just kind of moves the shoulder. It's like, And I was just like, there is no connection. Tommy, you are not even remotely.
That was actually absolutely ridiculous, and I was like, "That's a good dance." Like Tommy's just like, "Okay, let's get the little groove,"
No,
and then Robo's like, "Bam!
Tommy
I'm gonna bash everything."
He was hitting the little Uzi Vert, and then it was just going horrible. Main Drain is the first monster to have broken a Megazord's weapon.
Oh, so yeah, the sword does snap off.
I was like, dear God.
And it only takes 3.6 days to repair the sword. So, it's not that big of a deal.
And then also, last appearance of Mr. Kaplan for the season. Though he is mentioned in the jokes on Blue to be on vacation, he makes his next appearance in Turbo's Shift into Turbo Part 2.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Okay. See you later, Mr. Kaplan.
Now, there are definitely some errors in this episode, but let's go to what people voted for. And let's see what they say. Well, there it goes. All right. Looking at their votes, what do we got? All right, so we got Thomas Franco, who rates it 4.5. We have Blackwing, 3.5 out of 5. We have John Boy 77, which is a 4. We have the Blur, which is a 3. Edward Sanchez, 4 out of 5. Layla, 3.91. I see what you did there. And Thomas Franco, 5 out of 5. Funny K Comics, 4 out of 5 for Inner Spirit. We have Apollon Woodwolf, which is 3.5. Thor Odinson, 4 out of 5. And Jared gives it a 4 because of David but Mr. Trueheart also read Battlezord. So, all right.
Okay. What would you rate?
Oh, J-Boss, 3.7.
So what would you rate this episode?
Actually,
did we go over the errors?
No, I didn't yet. I just said I wanted to do the notes.
All right. Well, let's talk about the errors just for a bit, because that might affect our scores. It probably won't.
It probably won't. But the errors, when Main Drain first appears, he is wearing the upgrades that he would gain later fighting the Zeo Megazord.
Oh, okay.
And then also, last but not least, when Orbis lands on the side of Main Drain, the monster is suddenly colored silver. In reality, the footage used is from when Orbis enlarged Silo.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, actually.
I did not.
Keen eyes on these errors. But yeah, how would you rate this?
If I have to give it a rating, if I have to rate this episode, I'm going to give it, it was mediocre, so let's give it a 3.
See, I was going to give it a 3 too. It doesn't really conclude anything. I'm pretty sure our ratings may change by the end because it's a cliffhanger. And a lot of these episodes, that are continuation episodes, they're hard to rate individually. So far, my interest is peaked, but not quite. I'm not quite super excited or in awe yet. But because we still have several episodes to go.
So, next episode is Challenges.
Who was it written by? Do you know?
Good point. Let me see. This episode, Challenges, was written by... that was Mark Litton.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
And it was also directed by Robert
Radler.
He's come up a couple times.
Yes, I was just going to say, weird enough, Radler's become a name that we see for a few times throughout this Zeo kind of season. That's kind of interesting. It's like, all right, Radler, I guess you're doing what you can do. Yeah. So on this episode, we find out what's going on as far as Tommy has to go on a vision quest.
Yes.
So now with the vision quest, when we go into it,
and he gets a guide, though. He gets a Falcon guide to go on his vision quest. He's not alone, which is very nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, are you alone? I mean, the Falcon doesn't talk to you. You just kind of...
Well, neither did his brother.
Oh, well, apparently. That's true. Not until it came time. His brother, David waited for Tommy, and Tommy had to prove himself. That was the whole thing.
He was just like,
so it was like, I'm not just going to go hang out with this guy. I have to make sure, he's cool. You don't want to just hang out with people. What if he's a narc,
I guess, but I mean, David does know this is your brother. And then, my question is, how long did Trueheart know, both of them, David and, Mr. Trueheart, how long did they know that Tommy was out there somewhere?
That's true.
Because we've never seen Tommy's parents. We find out he's adopted. His parents don't care about him. His girlfriend left him. He's in a moment of, being totally alone and having to step up as a leader of the Power Rangers. And they're like, oh, I think it's time. We've known about him for about 17 years.
Wow.
But we decided to never visit him so it could be more epic when I fall off the edge of the cliff.
You just made both of their lives so dark that I need to listen to copious amounts of emo music. Literally. Wow.
But like, you know, like obviously they know, and they're like, and they're kind of toying with him, not really toying with him. They're trying to put him on this vision quest to find some kind of inner peace or happiness or whatever he needs to find. Right. They'd just be like, surprise, you have a brother. But obviously they know about Tommy for however long since he was a child, obviously, and Trueheart visited him. So when Tommy is like maybe 7 years old, 5 years old, however they were, like, you know, in those Alien Ranger episodes. So he's like, you get to live your life alone.
Yeah, and not know anything concerning your nature, your culture, your heritage, or anything like that. We're going to leave it so you have no idea. And what I'm going to do is make sure that I raise your brother in the way that everything's supposed to go. Now, here comes the question that we did ask earlier.
Yes.
Before, we had no idea that Tommy was Native American until that original episode where he went back in time, blah, blah, yada, yada.
Yeah, where he had to go find his Zeo crystal and do all of that stuff.
And the thing is, so then that's when we found out he was Native American. Before then, if we didn't find out,
I would have assumed that he was
the situation? Yeah. So the thing is, Tommy is raised by
we don't know, absentee,
faceless adoptive parents that clearly just brought him in so they can get a check. So
I mean, we don't know that, but let's assume to make Tommy's life a little more sad, so we can sympathize with him a little bit more.
So Tommy is like this. Tommy's living the life of Annie, you know, little orphan Annie, but without the bald benefactor.
Yes.
And so he's a hard knock life, cleaning up floors and everything, and his brother's living up the life in the reservation.
Huh? Oh, bald benefactor.
Oh, that's
right.
Oh my God!
And allows him to be the White Ranger and gives him his own personalized Zord.
Well, hey, you know, privilege comes in different ways.
Man, this really is Little Orphan Annie. Congratulations, Tommy! You have won the lottery. Let's have a musical episode now.
Oh God! I guess that explains why Tommy's parents didn't show up in the return of an old friend. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Unfortunately, poor Tommy. He went to live out life on his own when he was like, you know, I'm adopted. I don't really need you guys. I'm gonna go do what I can. He's always been a guy who lives on his own. He's doing pretty well. You know?
So my question to the audience is Tommy actually Native American? Because we find out that both David and Tommy have been adopted.
Yes.
We don't know what their biological parents were. So I can see David being raised by Trueheart in a Native American community and learning about their culture and being brought up in this. I don't know if he necessarily gets a pass saying he's Native American if he's not ethnically Native American. So I don't know, but does that make Tommy Native American? Because he could have been raised by anyone. And obviously in America, he had no idea.
Nope.
He has no connection to this.
Nope.
And so does he get to go on a vision quest?
No, I don't know.
I mean, they do anyway. Yeah, I don't know if it matters because that's what happens.
Is he supposed to? Fun fact concerning Tommy's brother, the guy who plays Tommy's brother. Did you know that's actually Jason David Frank's brother?
Interesting. So that's why they actually do look alike.
They actually do look alike, and unfortunately, Eric did pass recently, so R.I.P. to Eric.
But also, that's kind of great that they at least have these episodes together where you can see them interacting, like on TV for the enjoyment of millions of people.
I loved it because
I hope it is something sentimental to them.
Yes. And it worked on something on so many levels, you know? Yeah. And it's like, every once in a while, he does say, you know, like, he'll put the post and says, R.I.P., remember my brother, et cetera. And he'll post pictures of him and his brother together. And it is something great because it's like, it's foray into kind of like their lives, but it's something that we get to see.
And share with them.
Well, the thing is, they choose to share it with us.
Oh, that's true.
And that's like, wow. And that's something I've always said, like, JDF is a guy that, like, ultimately everything that lined up for him was created so that he could actually be a Power Ranger, because he is a person that understands what it is to be a Power Ranger as far as, like, what it means to the fans, what it means to the kids that watch this, what it means to everyone else. And he shows up to places, he doesn't charge an appearance fee, blah, blah. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he is, especially at Paramorphicon where he was staying late and signing, and hopefully in a couple more years.
So it just all adds up, and it just works out well. So it's like, wow, so giving. And that's a great thing that you see. It's kind of, his real life does bleed into his character, and that's something that I do like.
Which is good. And we do see it in the show that he does have this bond with his brother. I feel like their acting scenes together are incredibly good. I feel have like a really good chemistry. But also his brother was dangling from the side of the cliff, and he does choose to save him, which is great. Instead of like touching the hawk or catching the hawk.
Well, yeah, but
and his vision quest is over. And they do exchange this information of like, I'm adopted, I was adopted too. But I was a little confused where it's like, okay, so Trueheart is David's daddy, not necessarily his father, but is his daddy.
Yes,
raised him and everything else.
That's right.
And he's Native American. Does that make Tommy, who may not actually be Native American and was not raised with this kind of mentality, does he get to have all these benefits? It was a little weird. It's not something we should get hung up on. We're going to assume that he is Native American. But...
Poison Arrow does point out something that is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wish Tommy would have played a Native American in the Kimberly Wild West.
That episode would not have played out with actual historical. Like, he would have been murdered and killed, if not by actual people, then by smallpox or some other disease.
No, but that's actually very true. But now you think about it, and it was like they were supposed to play their historical analogs. That's what they were doing.
That is a good point, which makes me think that he's a white guy.
So he wasn't playing his historical analog, or he was playing his adoptive historical analog. Maybe.
Yeah, because he doesn't actually know what his, history is or anything else. Yeah, so I mean, that is actually a really good point. I like that you do bring that up.
Poison Arrow. That's bravo.
It is. Good. And I feel like we could do because, the writers and editors and everything else on the show isn't necessarily worried about continuity, as we have seen. But,
what is that?
But I love that we're able to tie it back in when they're going back in time, not only to, the Equestrians, but, even further,
even further
West.
back. Yeah. That's true. God, I do love that. Now, on this episode, what were points that you were just like, oh my God, I need to make sure I address?
There weren't super we talked about obviously the heart of this particular episode of Tommy's vision quest, but man, can we talk about the monster? Is super great. And Orbis in the very beginning, little Orbis with his little boxing gloves is probably the cutest thing I have ever seen on this particular show.
Immediately I need this in my life. I want
because
little
Prince
Orbis.
Pocket has and he's battling in the ring, and then it's what? Dude, he's such a small little robot with the most giant boxing gloves, and is that not the cutest thing with his little voice? I love it.
Oh yes, I agree. Definitely was cute. I did like it.
And then I also want to bring up. Okay, so we have Sprocket bringing this up only because Ernie decides to give free lessons. Damn it, Ernie! Stop giving things out for free. You're going bankrupt. You have already filed Chapter 8 15 times in the span of
Ernie,
3 seasons.
Literally, I don't know how many loans you've taken out on the juice bar, and then you had to take another loan out, so it needs to be a new company, and that's why he called it the cafe. And then I'm just waiting where he needs another loan, and it changes again to something else. That's all that happens. It's just a front.
Ernie,
I don't know what it's a front for.
You are so generous and so kind, but man,
maybe Ernie had a connection with the mob, and they fleeced him out. So he has to go ahead and get loans and blah, blah, blah. I'm making it so much darker than what it's become.
I don't necessarily get the vibe that Ernie is the most intelligent to...
Well, then that's the thing. That's why he would get fleeced by the mob. They're like, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this, blah, blah. We're going to take insurance on your place. We're going to burn it down. Don't worry about it. We'll take some of the insurance money. You'll be fine. Ernie's like, oh, I don't know. And they're like, shut up. We're going to do it. Okay. And that's what happens. So it just keeps changing every time.
All right. Because Joe is not here, maybe we'll allow it and we'll bring it up next week. And
so he can look at me and you're stupid. That's all Joe's going to say to me.
Another super chat.
JHero07 says, despite the corniness of this era, this arc made me like Tommy as character, not just as a cool ranger. It is one of the highlights of the Zeo season.
Interesting. I do like that, he is experimenting with this, and I'm just really curious about how his brother is going to play into everything.
Oh, yeah. We'll wait. We'll have to see the fourth episode.
I mean, we'll talk about that when we get there. But, this particular monster I thought was super fun. I love the heart of it, but I also love that Adam is like, hey, yeah, I'll do boxing. I could work it into my own personal martial arts style. Right. I like how that develops him.
Oh, yeah.
That was super fun. I love that Prince Sprocket was the one orchestrating this particular monster and how it's going to attack.
I love the whole thing, how they have that whole family ethic. Once again, I said that about that. These monsters do parenthood and family relations better than the heroes on the show.
Yeah.
That's something that I've always noticed. Like, he makes sure the structure is set up properly and everything, when it's always like, I do love my child, blah, blah, blah. I encourage my kid to go ahead and get his creative outlet, blah, blah, blah. I see none of the parents of the Rangers ever do that to
Well, we
anyone.
really only see their parents, like, maybe once, Kimberly's parents a couple times because mom comes back.
Funny enough, which was interesting, I forgot to point that out. Kimberly, the guy who plays Kimberly's French stepdad, later shows up, and he's the actor that's doing the announcement thing when they're meeting the snowboard girl. When he says, "Oh, look at blah blah yada yada," it's the same actor.
Oh, I actually didn't even
Same
notice that.
actor. That was so trippy to me.
That should have been like a fun fact last week.
Exactly, right? But we do have a super chat.
Mr. Ray.
Super chat from Mr. Ray. Shout out to you. We love the fact that you are definitely taking us up on options as far as writing. We love it. Mr. Ray says, "Sorry, I missed so much. YouTube didn't alert me."
You gotta click the little bell button now
That's
to get the updates. Subscribe no longer gives you
it's
those
like,
notifications.
you gotta subscribe and then you gotta hit that bell. Once you do, it will remind you all the time. So if you guys haven't done that yet, take a moment while you're watching right now, hit that bell so you can be notified whenever a show starts.
Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date. Oh wait, we're
Everything's
not
ready.
ending.
We're over.
We'll
Goodbye,
remind you
goodbye.
to do that at the end of the episode. But yeah, just to let you know, just click the little bell. It'll give you a notification every single time because subscribe doesn't do what it used to do on YouTube.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we have, what was it? A bunch of punches?
Bunch of bunches.
So
ultimately, we have a ring.
And I thought
Electrified
Prince
ring.
did an amazing job with this monster. So he knocks him out, takes him back, gives him some upgrades before, facing the Power Rangers again because, Megazord, whatever. And
because they disappeared. That's why I'm wearing the Alpha shirt today. Alpha is a real one. Alpha knew that they were losing. What did he do? He just kind of teleported them out. All right, boom.
I don't know why he didn't do that in any other case where they were actually in peril and their Zords were being sucked down into lava. But
they're new Zords, and they have more control concerning these new Zords because essentially they almost really made them themselves. Okay. Him, Billy, and blah, blah. And Billy, once... The guy is trying to go ahead and be at the forefront of technology in his little Silicon Valley over there. So he's busy working, making the iPhone, like we said before, and then doing this. So that's how we're able to do it now. That's all.
And I don't know, Billy being the genius that he is, and Tommy is on his vision quest, that why can no one else pilot the Battle Zord? Why is it only Tommy? You would think Billy would take a step ahead. Tommy has been going through some stuff. Give it some kind of backup system where someone else can also control it, but we don't get to see that.
I have an answer for that.
All
that is the backdoor
Am I gonna be convinced by your answer?
Okay, think about it this way. It's the backdoor flaw. Same thing that happens with iPhones. After a particular time, they get so old. Oh, here's a software update that's going to help you, and then it slows down your phone and blah blah yada yada. Same thing, it was like I need to have some kind of backdoor flaw. So I made the backdoor flaw where it only is psychically connected to Tommy. Boom.
I mean, I'm not really convinced, but anyway, moving on. Power Rangers mentality, I'll accept
because
it.
Power Rangers. So we get a ring, and once again, like you pointed out, Sprocket, genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
And
electrifies the ring.
But not only that, even before this, he is already one step ahead when he kidnaps Adam and using him kind of as motivation for the Rangers of hey, I have your friend.
You won't run from me. You're going to have to fight.
Yeah. And it's if you want him back, you're going to have to face head on. And I was like, for this little kid of a robot, and it's a robot, I don't know if they age, I don't know if they get bigger, but is the child of, this machine empire and everyone else. So I was just like, wow, this kid has really thought things through. Whoa, super chat.
Maniac is in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so
Maniac
much.
hits us quick. Hey, Dan. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Yeah, that's scary. Enjoyed last week's Quest for Player show. Pretty much we did carry on the conversation.
Excellent.
Like we said. I swear to God, I wish you were here. It would have been so good.
It's okay. I just tune in.
We may just
and if you haven't seen it, make sure you watch Quest for Player too.
Definitely. Please do. Started watching the show from the very beginning. Also, Elle, here it is. Where are your glasses? Still pretty though.
Thanks. I actually have them on the table over there.
Yeah. We were like, you know what? Today we're gonna do something a little different, so this way you can tell who's who.
That's why I'm also not reading.
There you go. See? That's perfect.
I can't see.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. I'm going to keep mine on because, trust me, it's
but thanks so much for that, Maniac.
It'd be like Bird Box if I take mine off. We're just both blind. So, moving on from there.
But yeah, so
like
Sprocket
has
like a really good plan. So he kidnaps Adam, uses him as bait, creates this monster, gives them upgrades, and then puts this electrified ring around them and really gives the Power Rangers a run for their money in this episode.
Bravo! This kid did all of that. I love it.
But also, I mean, I feel like, the Rangers like, oh, the ring is cheating, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's a boxing match. I feel like you're cheating when you take away the chains. Like, they're both equally in the ring. Like,
I got to keep you in this ring.
Can't the BattleBot, like, push it into the chains as well?
Exactly. I'm sorry, BattleBot, that you tactically are not the leader. But moving on.
But yeah, this was one of the more interesting fights that I've seen in a really long time in Power Rangers, where I wasn't exactly sure if they were going to win. It was extendedly really interesting.
It was. In
the middle of everything, because we find David, and Tommy gets called out because he's the only one that could pilot, the Battle Zord. And so you're still kind of left with like, how is everything going to be resolved with David? And I thought the structure, kind of speaking of the other episodes, I skipped the battle parts. Like I clicked forward like 20 seconds.
Either skip them or I'm like, oh, time to do some dishes. I just have dishes in my house for no reason.
Yeah, and I thought this one really kept my attention. Like, I was interested to see how everything would end.
Yeah.
And, Tommy's vision quest is ended, and he finds the other half of, like, the arrow and everything else.
Man, it was like, yeah, we got the connection. Like, things are starting to really pick up from here. So, which isn't bad. What else about this episode before we get into the news?
I feel like that was it. I was just incredibly impressed. And, like, for those of you in the chat, what would you guys rate this episode?
Exactly. So while you guys let us know exactly what you would rate it, we're going to go ahead and give you a little breakdown on notes and errors.
Yes.
So, notes, not too much. First original footage appearance of Prince Sprocket.
Oh.
That's really interesting. That was
so they were
good.
Actually able to get the costumes and everything and do their own. And I actually like that because this episode, because it focused on him and gave him kind of more of a driving force, I thought it was a lot more interesting.
I did love it. Also, I forgot something in the previous episode, just a note. This is the first time where the giant monster interacts with the Rangers. Remember, they shot him with the thing, and he picked them up, and it's the toys.
And I also just felt like at some point, like, I wanted to talk about that too. Smash them.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, right? He could have been a smash or anything. He picked them up, he threw them down, and then he shot lasers at them. They should be dead.
But they're not. They're Power Rangers.
Yeah, and if their gun works that good on something that giant, they should
use
just immediately, when those little all right, we're done, guys. It will be finished. But now, as far as errors on this episode, we did have Punch a Bunch is shown lying on the ground when Orbis enlarges him, but the Rangers hadn't taken him down yet.
He just tripped.
Yeah, that's all.
That's fine.
Sometimes it happens, guys.
It happens. I mean, like, those feet are, like, really big and blocky, so it's kind of hard to walk around.
Yeah, things happen that
super
way.
chat.
Oh, super chat. Making things fun. So we get here with a super chat by Mr. Ray. Shout out to you, and thank you once again. Elle or Dan, would you guys ever cosplay a Ranger?
Yes.
I was just going to point to her and be like, hold on, guys.
I want to watch more series, though, before I commit, because those costumes are quite intensive and very expensive to buy the helmets. So I probably won't cosplay a Ranger. I mean, I might do it for next PMC, I'm not going to lie. But we'll see.
That's what I'm talking about, guys. All right, so, scores. The Blur gives it a 2. JohnBoy777 gives it a 3. Blackwing, I'm so crazy. Blackwing 2040 says 4 out of 5 because Tommy meeting his brother. I know, it tugged the heartstrings. Apollon Woodruff gives it a 3. Thomas Franco gives it a 5 out of 5. Layla gives it a 4.999991 because I am too petty to give the episode a 5. Bravo,
like
thank you. Yes, she is. Thank you for joining the Church of Petty. That's right. Teddy Pettigrass, baby. All right, now, Jared Hodges, I'm going with a 4.5 or 4 out of 5. Funny K Comics gives it a 4 out of 5 or 4.5 out of 5. We got Thor Odin's son gives it a 4.1. Edward Sanchez, 4.5 out of 5. And J Boss gives it a 3.9. People automatically are starting to go ahead and say it. Yellow Ranger L. Let's say L for Yellow Ranger. That is something I want to see happen.
I like that, but also
switch thing. And Trini is the Red Ranger in the comic for a little bit. And she possibly one of the best leaders in the battlefield. In my opinion, you have to see it. It's going to be great. I'm going to wait till you get there. But
I do want that, but also because I'm greedy and I want my own sword so I don't have to share with anybody else.
Layla, you are right. Sagittarius season. Sagittarius are very petty people. We indeed are. Going back to it, that would be great. I'd love to see it. Toku Kid gives it a Zeo out of 5. He did not like it.
Oh.
Yeah, he did not like it.
Boo, you bore.
And Thomas Frankel's also Sagittarius. What's up? We're getting this sad season. But, all right, what do you rate it?
I actually really enjoyed this episode, and it's a really high rating, but I feel like I don't give them out often. I'm going to give it a 5. I have never been so entertained by, like, a Zord and a monster fight in a long time. And I thought the heart with Tommy connecting with his brother was super good.
For me, I got to give this episode, if anything, I'm going to give this episode a 4.5. I really did enjoy it, and it connects a lot of everything that was going on and what they set up, and we're getting a lot of payout. So I dug it. I dug it. Now, moving on, of course, we're going to go to the third episode, which is Lost and Found. Now, this episode is pretty interesting. A lot of people say it's very pivotal concerning a lot of things that happen in it. This episode was written by Mark Litton, once again, and also Stuart St. John. Stuart, you're back! He's been gone for a bit. And directed, of course, by Robert Radler again.
And we get to learn a little bit more about David in this episode. So
yes,
all the hype that I was feeling from the previous episode kind of dissipated in the beginning of this one. Woo. Where we find out, Tommy brings his brother back to the juice bar and introduces him to everybody. Like, hey, these are my friends.
Yeah,
Let us spar in martial arts because, you've obviously also trained in martial arts.
Which is something clearly has to happen, I guess. Makes sense. You just have to also, because in real life they definitely do. Yes. They definitely did at that time. So it was like, that was cool. So they got to kind of flex their muscles. And of course, Tommy happened to flex more than anyone else and happened to be a dick about it.
I don't think
That's
Tommy
how David
wasn't being
felt.
a dick. But
I feel the same way David
I feel
felt.
like in martial arts, it's fair. You can't win them all, but David does get his feelings hurt. And, you can't negate how somebody feels, but I don't think he handled it in a way. And I feel like if you were trained in martial arts, you learn how to also take wins,
and losses. You learn from either.
And you don't become a petty, whiny little David in this episode and stalk off.
Whoa. What do you mean whiny? Okay, look.
He
all
was
he said was,
he was like on the ground. He's like,
why would you do that to me? Like, literally, you didn't have to.
Why did you agree to spar?
Hey.
And he was being all cocky, like talking to Tommy's friends, being like, watch me kick his butt. I'm going to kick his butt.
Okay, well, that's true. Okay, fine.
And honestly, I knew about him for like 15 years and I didn't tell him. So like.
So you kind of deserve to lose that sparring match because that's true. I did know about you, and I knew that one day you would love to be able to connect and all the things that you want to do, which is learn about your culture, blah, blah. I already did, and I'm not going to make sure I share it with you.
And Tommy actually in this episode asked, like, why didn't you just tell me? He's like, oh, because it's part of the vision quest. But I'm pretty sure Tommy's underlying things. Why didn't you tell me when you were a child?
Yes. You could have told someone to reach out to me. Instead, you said, all right, John Trueheart said, someday we will have you meet your brother. Now, until then, what I need you to do is shut up. And he was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. Like, that's kind of messed up, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So he kind of deserved, you're right, then he kind of deserved to lose during that way. And he did run off like a little, and, go ahead and sure enough, he got rewarded because he did that. He got rewarded with being kidnapped.
Yes. Yes,
and that's exactly
he did.
See? So that lets you guys know if you're a sore loser, you may get that's not what you want to learn.
No.
That's not what you want to learn.
That is not the message of today's story.
No,
we don't usually have messages. So we're working on it. We'll come up with better ones in the future.
So that's not a good audience, guys. If you lose at something and you're a sore loser, don't you deserve to be kidnapped? Is that right? No? You guys are... Okay. All right. Fine. Whatever. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong on this one. But moving on with that, moving on concerning the episode.
This episode brings up something that I always kind of wonder, because it was introduced in, the beginning of this series, that Bulk and Skull have Goldar and Rito kind of like hostages, like minions working for them. And they never come up. They're just randomly like in the garage. And I'm like kind of being distracted by other stuff going on.
We're sorry.
As I lose my train of thought. But some things about, our friend Lieutenant Stone are kind of coming up in the room right now.
In the room right now.
And Rome is really enjoying it.
Oh, boy. Oh, God.
But...
Oh, boy. Oh.
But,
I'm sorry. The red blue blur does say if you lose, you quietly, bitch and moan. That's how you should properly lose.
And for all of you guys that have the blur name, is this a thing? Is it like Orange
Is it a
Blur?
No,
Do you watch Futurama?
No, I thought the blur was like the Flash. Because they call the Flash a blur. But I'm seeing someone say the blue blur, and I'm like the red blue blur, and I'm like Power Rangers thing is that?
Smallville.
Oh, that's right. I was not a fan of that.
I know Orange Blur.
Nice.
Futurama.
I know Orange Julius.
Oh, okay.
Orange, that's what I know. I know that's what really good. Anyway, moving on.
Slurm? Oh, it's Slurm? Oh, wait. Never mind. But, so, the other thing that this episode brings up, and I don't have a whole lot to talk about.
You guys are getting on me about the kidnapping, and all I'm going to say to you is, Alpha is also a kidnapper. Merry Christmas. Now let's move on.
So we'll still randomly have Goldar and Rito.
I forgot about them until literally when they're doing their background check on Tommy's brother, which great use of the people's funds by doing this just because you want to say that this guy is not on the up and up because he's shining and you're not. That was beautiful for them to do. And then so immediately right there, they're looking up the stuff and they mention, oh, hey, did you remember to feed Goldar and Rito? What? I forgot about them completely because it's been a few episodes.
I haven't because I've been wondering what do they do all day? And I bring it up every once in a while in these episodes. Like, what have they been doing? Like, weeks have passed. I don't know what's going on. But to me, that was the most interesting thing in this episode.
Exactly.
Like, we end on another, cliffhanger on this. Like, there's obviously no spoilers because we don't know what happens.
No.
We know that,
God.
like we were saying that Tommy's brother gets kidnapped and Tommy wants to save him and he's in this weird cave that has, pictoglyphs or whatever.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. This is, interesting. We have to put him in a cave underneath the reservation that has these, pictoglyphs and everything like that. So we know that's clearly going to have a problem. We can kind of see it coming. And he's all freaked out. This was something that I noticed that I'm like, is an error, and I bet it's not in our error notes. When Tommy holds on to the thing and he sees his brother, like that kind of projection, Tommy sees his brother in his projection as he's wearing the dojo thing. When he's holding on to that, he was actually in his Zeo suit in the command center. Oh. Why did he show up wearing that? And it's like, okay, so this way he wouldn't reveal. How did he know to somehow connect to this magical thing that he's never connected before and change his physical appearance?
In his projection? Did not even notice it. That is a major error.
This is a Star Wars situation. That's all I'm saying. It's the whole Luke, is he there? How is he dead?
Let me also project my red gi.
Yes, I have to make sure I put on my red gi because I cannot make sure that I am wearing my I'm just saying, you guys see it right there. It's something that they don't mention in mistakes, but it's interesting.
But yeah, I mean...
but so he does protect himself, tells his brother, okay, it's kind of...
He doesn't say anything.
He doesn't say anything. Well, because he can't, apparently. I don't know. He doesn't know how to speak in the projection, but he knows how to change his clothes. So he shows up in the projection, and that doesn't really comfort his brother, but makes his brother far more worried. Bravo, Tommy. You're doing a bang-up job.
And we just kind of have this cliffhanger ending. I don't have a whole lot to say about this particular episode. The hype has worn down. I don't necessarily like the brother. I don't... I mean, what do you guys rate this episode? I feel like not a whole lot went on. We had a monster. It kind of went back and forth. It was uneventful for me.
Yeah. So, but let us know what you guys say for your votes. And while you are telling us what you think for your audience score, we'll give you a little bit of background info on notes. So,
Daniel,
notes for notes for this episode. First original footage appearance of King Mondo, which I did love, where he says, "Okay, trade." I'm sorry. Where he says. trade off the give me this and I'll let you know where your brother is, blah, blah. I saw it, and I thought to myself immediately when I saw it, I was watching with my daughter, and I said, so that means there is a King Mondo suit somewhere in California in a warehouse. We need to somehow get our hands on this because I want King Mondo here at the show. That's what I want so bad. That would be really fun, actually. So I was thinking about that. The episode's title is Lost and Found in Reverse. Found and Lost.
Yeah. I mean,
womp womp. Not that much of a note.
Sorry, he did get lost. He was kidnapped. So I guess
whatever. Well, but it makes sense. Yeah, he was actually indeed found.
I found you in the last episode and immediately lost you because you're a poor sport.
Stop bitching. Tommy's revealed to be adopted. Big whammy. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is the final usage of Zeo Power Zeo in the intro, and also the long version of the Zeo theme and the Ranger shape outlinings. As the episode onwards, discard the shape little etching and shorten the theme, and discard Zeo Power Zeo. So
I love that intro,
that's no longer in the intros if you guys start to notice anymore. So it's just, once again, stronger than before. So as far as the errors, I pointed out the one error as far as the geek. And that's about it for that. Let's find out what people thought about the episode.
Rated it.
So, Matthew Thompson, shout out to you. Glad that you're here. 3 out of 5. Edward Sanchez, 4 out of 5. John Boys, 777, gives it a 4. Blackwing 2040, 2.5 because Petty David.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
I'll agree with
there's
you.
power in petty, my friend. Mr. Ray gives it a 304. Oh, I get it. Wrestling.
3 out of 4?
No, 304 isn't that like a wrestling thing? Okay, all right. Thomas Franco, 4.5. The debut of Zeo Mega Battlezord. Mr. Ray gives it a 3.4. Funny K Comics, 3 out of 5. Let me see. Blah, blah.
Red Blur gives it a 1. I can read that.
Thomas already said 3 out of 5. Jared Hodges gives it a 3 out of 5. Apollon Woodworth gives it 3 out of 5. Layla 2.9991 out of 5. Hashtag Sagittarius Pettiness. And last but not least, Maniac gives it a 3. So with that being the case, I'm going to say this episode was not eventful to me. I really didn't care too much about it. It's kind of leading on to something, and because of that, it kind of fell flat. So I'm giving it really a 2.
Odinson gives it a 3 out of Lightning Bolt.
3 out of Lightning Bolt. I see it. Lightning Bolt. What about you?
I was super disappointed off of the previous one that we watched. I'm going to give it a 1.
Woo! Dang.
Big discrepancy.
So y'all
I am not pleased. I do hope that the next episode wows me.
It up,
especially we have a whole nother wait.
Oh, yeah.
A big wait, a week before we get to discuss it. So tune in next week.
When we'll be able to discuss it.
3 more episodes.
We definitely enjoy being able to talk about Power Rangers with you guys. We're glad that you guys can tune in. Jessica says you can go anywhere else and blah, 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 but you're glad you're here. One thing I'm glad of is that, we have to wear clothing in public. And because we do, we actually happen to,
then it should be cool geek clothing.
Exactly! Which is one of my fetishes, which we start off the show with. Cool geek clothing. So, I just wanted to get you with something as
long
bad
as it's
possible.
Not fertilizer.
Oh God! Yes, I'm not Lieutenant Stone, but I'm keeping it kind of naughty, just like your shirt.
A little naughty, but not gross.
Exactly, we are not gross.
As part of the Teabaggers. We're just naughty.
Yeah, you can say that with a straight face. It's perfectly fine. Definitely, guys, make sure that you do wear some clothing. We got a few cons coming up. If you haven't chose, go ahead and get something. Get our stuff. Wear it. Support. Show your support by being at a con, wearing the shirts, and take some pictures. Exactly.
Post it
on THS hashtaggers, and we will then, of course, post it here on the show. So do that for us. We'll look forward to seeing that. And with that being the case, where can everybody find you?
I'm Elle Tea on Instagram and Facebook.
There you go. I'm Battlestalker Black on Instagram, and on Twitter, I am that hashtag BSG. So that's where you can find us, and you can always find us here every week. So make sure that you like, share, subscribe,
click
comment,
the bell button.
Click the bell, so this way you're able to stay up to date with everything trending
in geek pop culture.
Bye, guys.